Welcome to Quark's Bar, everyone. All sales are final. We do not offer refunds. Keep your hands off my Dabo girls. And if Morn is here, buy him a drink. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming in on an awesome Saturday afternoon. I hope you're all had a great or having a great weekend, having a great Saturday and all. And here we're going to catch up from yesterday, and we are going to talk Star Trek Lower Decks episode 3. But before we do that, we are going to introduce everyone. I am Nobody Geek. I am your main host. With me is the Twitter man, the legend, Jack Beers. We also have a man who has a voice that just could make a saint cry, Positive Candor. And then, of course, we also have the awesome, the eternal Captain Trek. So, guys, the way we talked about it afterwards, obviously, Captain Trek, you're new to our Quarks Bar panel talking about LDS. I know
Yes.
you have just recently seen the 3 episodes. I know we're talking about episode 3, but give us your thoughts on what you thought about those 3 episodes you've seen.
Uh, the funny thing is, I've seen other channels about positive aspects of the show, and I don't want to be disrespectful of them. However, I feel quite the opposite. I don't feel that it is respectful of the traditions of Star Trek by the, uh, the way that the characters are treated. The whole the cerritos is this last, you know, there's no way they would have it like this in the Federation. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. And to be quite honest, I rate them quite low. But that's my personal opinion.
All right. Well, that is totally understandable. I guarantee you most of us on here have not had a very good experience with it. Jack, Captain Trek, are you done with that? Or did you have more to say? I just want to make sure.
Oh no, I'm done. Yeah, I don't want to be intrusive.
Oh, no, no, no. You're fine. Jack. All right, buddy.
Yes.
You know I've seen the tweets. You know I always see them because they're just that fucking awesome. All right, buddy. Give me your thoughts on this latest episode.
So this is the 3rd episode. This is where normally you can get a good sense of what the show is going to be about. And after 3 episodes, it's not funny. It's not optimistic. It doesn't feel like sci-fi at all. As I said before, they got some of the background right. They got the interiors of the ship to look good, but the animation sucks. I posted a tweet of Boimler turning around, surprised, and it was in the middle of his turn, and it looked like he had 4 arms and like a hole in the middle of him. It was weird. So that their animation sucks. And they try to make up for like all of these downfalls with like chaos, which I guess they think is funny. The way they do it, where everyone's yelling at everybody and there's no there's everyone's panicking basically, and they try to make up for it with like that type of chaos and with member berries, just dropping names. This last time they dropped Chief O'Brien's name, but he had nothing to do with the show. You know what I mean? So it was just a member berry. The show is inconsistent. For instance, in the 1st episode, Boimler lies to the captain about Mariner. The captain's like, "Let me know if she does anything bad," and she technically breaks regulation, and he's supposed to tell her, but she doesn't, or he doesn't. He doesn't tell her. But in this episode, he immediately tells the captain what buffer time is. Right, so there's inconsistency with like whether or not how Boimler is supposed to react to the captain, whether it's to tell the truth or not. And we all know that every the epitome of what every Starfleet officer has to do with like the truth. Picard did that great speech. The first duty of every Starfleet officer is the truth, whether it's scientific truth, historical truth, or personal truth. It is the guiding principle of which Starfleet is based, and if you can't find it within yourself to stand up and tell the truth about what happened, you don't deserve to wear that uniform. So, if Boimler wants to be like a model Starfleet officer, he's got to stop lying to the captain, for one thing. Another reason why it was inconsistent was that in the first episode, when the zombie outbreak occurred, suddenly everybody had phasers that they seemingly pulled out of nowhere, And in this third episode, nobody had phasers. Boimler had a phaser. Was the only one who had a phaser, and he was using it to clean up graffiti.
I knew you were gonna bring that up because I remember seeing your tweet, and the guy pointing out, what a phaser was really used for on a bulkhead.
Yeah. And so I did not understand why they did that. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they would clean something like that in the 24th century. I'm sure they got machines that do that. But yeah, it was inconsistent. And then in this third episode, nobody had a phaser. Everybody was beating up these people with pads, and they had a tripwire for some stupid fucking reason. It was dumb. Yeah. Yeah, I have more to say, but I'm going to let other people.
All right. Hey, positive candor. All right, Jack, you got your say in. Captain Trek got it. Positive candor. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's still terrible. Mariner still is insubordinate as hell with her sleeves rolled up. There's no repercussions to her actions. Yeah, she was thrown in a brig, but next week she'll have her sleeves still rolled up.
Yep.
So it's not going to matter. So she basically gets away with everything, pretty much. And yeah, I'm basically sick of her character to death. Just should airlock her or something out of the ship or something.
I would like to see her get eaten by a Klingork.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Well, here's
get rid of her character, because her blatant disregard for rules and regulations would never be tolerated in Starfleet, let alone any other kind of military organization.
Not a shot in hell.
Nope.
And this is coming from experience, and I know Jack is from experience too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So,
go
the
ahead.
whole premise of this
Finish up
episode
positive
is
candor. Go ahead.
basically to make it feel like a regular Trek episode, but they still fail because you have your classic Kirk shirtless scene basically with Ransom in this. You have your and he's fighting even without a weapon and stuff like that. He's just beating a guy with his fists and whatever. So, it just reeks of unoriginality. And then borrowing frickin' jokes from the Orville now with the he's got wood was just, to me.
Yes.
That was to me the last.
Okay. Did anybody not catch that was an Orville reference?
I caught it.
Yeah, I think we all did. Captain Trek,
Definitely.
did you? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a given. That was so over Orville, it was ridiculous. It's like, are you trying to slap yourself in the face to say you're going to try to do Orville?
And then on top of that, they threw it at Ransom's nuts, which is supposed to be hilarious, I guess. I don't know.
No, but
So
Positive Candor
yeah,
brings up a good point, and then I think Jack, I think on Twitter, you even it was brought up even on your Twitter account. It was like, you've got what it's like, really? You went
Mm,
there?
yeah. No, it was you know, I mean, like I kind of get the idea. Then another thing that bothered me was that there was a mention that these people were part of the Federation. I I I I don't see why they would be if they're that if they react like that. If like the guy, instead of showing off like a crystal or whatever, they show off like that piece of wood, and the wood is supposed to be their enemy's whatever, their enemy's symbol, and so they took it as an act of war, and they arrested everyone, and then they sent ships to attack the Cheerio ship, and
I
you know
like that, the Cheerio ship. We should just refer to it for that now. Positive Candor. Sorry, buddy, we didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead
sorry.
and continue.
yeah. I mean, besides yeah, the goofiness of yeah, just now they're telling, like I said, Orville jokes now because they're so unoriginal. They have to resort to copying off of like every kind of thing they can rip off it, if you ask me now. Um, so yeah, I'm getting way more and more disgusted with each episode. Um, how they're basically just throwing everything down the toilet, for lack of better terms.
Nah, I
But
would
yeah, I mean
agree.
the best part of the episode is at the end when they say Chief O'Brien is the most important person in Starfleet ever. So I mean, I like that at least it's an enlisted guy, for crying out loud, because that's to me the best part of that they've ever said in any in this whole thing. So I did like that as a callback to, hey, at least you're getting one thing, because yeah, if they had said anybody else, like some officer or Burnham or whoever, who I was kind of expecting, then that would have been a death nail to me. But at least, I mean, I know they're not gonna. They just mentioned Chief O'Brien for the hell of it. Basically, really, it's probably not going to really mean anything in the greater scheme of things with this stuff. So, but that to me was at least only good part of the episode.
And for me,
Positive. Go ahead, Captain Truck.
I didn't like that because it's like the only thing they show him in is his position in the transporter room. I mean, he his role went changed so much, and he became so much of a greater character, a greater uh, personality in DS9. And in many ways, it seems like they never even watched DS9 uh, because it shouldn't just be his transporter position.
Captain Truck, you bring up an interesting point, and I agree with you. I'm in the same point. First off, he shouldn't have been known as Chief O'Brien since he was teaching at Starfleet. He should have
Mm-hmm.
been known as,
Professor.
probably Professor. Yeah, exactly, Professor O'Brien. And it was a throwaway line, and as an enlisted man, who's been married, spent my career as an enlisted guy. I felt that was almost, maybe complimentary, but almost insulting. Because if you had done it right, you would have called him Professor O'Brien. You would not have called him Chief O'Brien, because Chief is his enlisted rank. But if he's going to go teach at the academy, which we all know was supposed to happen at the end of DS9, he would be known as a professor. That would be his title.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of half-assed. And now I will say this. I will say this. I'm gonna kind of get on my spill on this episode. I actually laughed for all of about 2 or 3 minutes, I think it was. And that was when the first off, when the first officer finally stabbed that bitch, I laughed my ass off. I was literally like, "Oh, thank God. This is what we've all wanted to do for 2 or 3 episodes." And then he goes out there and yeah, he rips his shirt off and does that funny thing. But the fight scene with the alien, I actually thought was funny. But here's the problem. When you're 3 episodes in, and now I'm okay, if we're gonna say it's 24 minutes long, that means I am 72 minutes in, and I have smirked, chuckled, and laughed all three one time in 72 minutes. It's not a good comedy. It's not a good parody. It's just it's not doing what they want it to be, which we all know what they want it to be. They want it to be the Orville. They want to try and make it the Orville, which unfortunately they are not going to do because they're not Seth MacFarlane. There's a talent to comedy, and you have to be able to um what was that show, the one with Tim Allen, not the movie, oh
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, thank you. Yeah, that was kind of a parody, kind of like Spaceballs. They were parodies, but they were done so well. They were comic gold, and we all loved them, and we all even respected them, even though they made fun of certain things. Like, for example, the whole scene in Galaxy Quest where he's taking a piss, and these guys are talking shit, and it's like, well, actually, that makes sense because for some reason, men tend to talk shit while they're taking a piss. Don't know why, we just do. Guess as we get our best thoughts there. But Orville has comedy that has nurtured and gone through it, and we have enjoyed it. Whereas, this show, if you were going to say LDS was a parody, I'd be totally okay with that and be fine with it. But it's not funny. And on top of that, I've even said, from the first episode to the second episode, the computer graphics of the cerritos and the space, I think it took a nosedive because I think they got their budget cut. Because if I,
Probably.
that's my opinion. Because when I see the first episode, and then I went to the second episode, that was the first thing I noticed. Was that the space CGI computer looked like it was fogged out, kind of blanded, and it ain't gotten any better.
Like it took like they put the quality down so it could render faster or something like that. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, Captain Trek, so what did you think about the start? Did you guys, actually everybody, we'll start with Captain Trek, we'll go to Jack Beers, and then we'll go to Positive Candor and finish off with me on this question. Did you guys laugh at any point in this show? In the 3 episodes? And if you
Uh,
did, what did you find humorous?
I didn't laugh. I did kind of smirk a little bit in this episode. But that was when she was stabbed. Because it's like, oh, finally she's not perfect. But yeah, it just to me, I don't find toilet humor funny.
No, I agree. I don't either.
And I mean, it's like they're doing a parody of the Orville more than Star Trek, but putting the Star Trek name on it.
I agree.
All right, Jack. Did you at any point have you laughed at anything in this?
So I have to admit I did laugh once and I did chuckle once in this episode. The chuckle came from the stabbing.
Yes.
I wasn't. I actually was not expecting that, and yeah, it got a chuckle out of me. Where I laughed was at the end where they're in sick bay and the uh, the Katian, I think her name is Tana, the cat woman. She was, earlier they were talking about all of Mariner's scars that she had over the years or whatever, and she's like, "Are you sure you don't want me to do anything about those scars?" And Mariner was like, "No, these are my trophies." And she says, "Well, congratulations, you look like a fucking scratching post." And, and it,
Yeah, that was actually funny.
now I don't like cussing in Star Trek. Like that's one of the things I don't like, even if it's bleeped out. But for some reason, I think it's because she's a cat lady, with the scratch. Yeah, like it just made me laugh. And then also it was an insult to Mariner. So
Oh, that was
I
the
don't like
nice thing.
Mariner at all.
Mariner got put in her place a few times finally.
Yeah, I don't
I
like
mean,
Mariner. She's so
half-assedly.
insubordinate. She picks on Boimler earlier in the episode. He's does this violin solo for his mom or something like that, or dedicated to his mom, and it wasn't bad. It actually wasn't bad, and nobody cheered, nobody clapped, nobody cared. And then Mariner comes in with her rock guitars and shit, and she like does a horrible job playing, and then she fucking throws the guitar away. And then when Boimler tries to continue his violin stuff, the security chief comes in, thinks it's him making all the noise, and breaks the violin. How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
And I will say there's a couple of people have grown on me. A couple of the characters have started to grow on me. I will say that. Um, first of all, the Tana, the Katie and Tana. I like her. I like her Dr. McCoy like bedside manner so far. So that's kind of growing on me. Rutherford and Tendi are also growing on me. Maybe I don't know.
I think Rutherford is actually one of the more favored characters.
Yeah, he's happy go lucky. He's dedicated. He's not afraid to try new things. Um, there's a downside too, as well. His implant gives him like the super Soji powers where he can like rip Borg's arms off. So I don't like that aspect of him. I think it would have been better if, if he didn't have that. If that implant didn't do that for him. I would like to see him in engineering more. I know he's in engineering, but I would love to one day see him do the Geordi drop. You know what I mean? Where like they're escaping engineering and the door is closing, and right before it closes, he ducks and rolls under. Geordi did that, I don't know how many times in Star Trek, but I would love to see him do that once. That would make me happy. I don't think they'll do it in this one because they don't know how to do decent Star Trek in this. One more thing. Did anybody notice that it seems like they might be trying to hook up Mariner and Ransom?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Turn them
Yeah,
into
that
these.
was.
Turn them into these guys.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell. You're not gonna do a Cure Odo
No,
romance. No, not a chance.
no.
What about you, Positive Candor? Did you find any moments in any of these episodes that you actually enjoyed?
Um, no, not really. I mean, to be honest, I mean,
And that's the unfortunate thing is we're all see, here's the thing. I think we're okay with a parody. We're okay with comedy. We've seen, this kind of stuff in Star Trek parodies done. I've said you can find an SNL skit or a now I can't think of the damn name of it. In Living Color. Oh yeah. You can find some really fun parodies But, this is just, if it's supposed to be a parody or satire, they are really, unfortunately, they're failing at it. And that's sad because I think we all would be totally cool with, a funny Star Trek. Just say it's a parody, it's not real, it's just for fun. I think we'd all get on board with it, and I think we all gave it a shot. But it's like you're doing toilet boy humor, which for me was what, oh god, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, all those parody movies that came out, the scary movies for one, the Wayans brothers did it, and it was the toilet boy humor, and it just kept going. Epic movie, you name it, it all became toilet boy humor. And there was no humor, nothing funny. And I'm like, I'm an old school guy. I grew up on the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Lowell and Artie, uh, George Costanza, George Carlin, Richard Price, uh,
Good comedy.
Rodney Dangerfield. Yes, Dennis Leary, or even the most recent, one of the greatest I've ever seen was oh shit! Now I can't think of his name. Sticks and Stones on Netflix.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. Thank you. Yes. See, I love humor when humor makes fun of everything and there's no limit. Whereas when you're looking at this show, it's like, okay, if you're gonna try and be humorous, be funny, make it fun. And sit down and watch. I mean, shit. These guys could have sat down and watched Spaceballs and learned how to do the fucking thing right better. Or even the Spaceballs animated series.
Seriously.
What do you think, Captain Trek? You think it can get any? You think it can get any funnier?
I honestly don't. And there was something you mentioned before about the oh, what are the see, that's the thing. I don't remember the names. I remember uh Boimler, but I don't remember the engineering guy.
Rutherford.
Rutherford. Thank you.
Rutherford.
And
Okay,
the
yeah.
only reason why I know this now is because I wrote it down this time.
Okay.
This is the first episode where I actually know all their names now.
The thing is, I want to know why he has the implant. Was this just a was there an accident? Did he just go, "Oh, hey, I'm going to sign up for this trial," or why? It's just kind of, at least in Next Generation, when Geordi had his visor, they explained it. He was born blind. Uh, there's no reason. There's no seeming reason for him to have it, and
Well,
I
yeah.
think that
Not
he's
only
important.
no,
And
I agree with you. And then he says, "Oh, I'm a cyborg." I'm like, that doesn't make a damn bit of sense in Star Trek. Oh, I'm a cyborg? No, nobody has ever been called a cyborg in any Star Trek episode ever. So
except for
I'm calling
Cyborg
bullshit.
Chick from Discovery. You know what I'm talking about? Arium, I think
No,
her actual name
actually,
is.
I don't
Yeah,
because
to
Okay.
me, they're trying.
In Discovery, there is a blue lady. It was like a half cyborg type of person. She got into like an accident and she had to have all these parts replaced. But you never know her name until the second season. And then 8 episodes into the second season, they finally give her some character development. And by the end of that episode, they kill her. So it's like,
oh, that's why I don't know it. I never watched Discovery. I never watched STD past. I think the third. I think I made it third or fourth episode in the second season. I said, I'm fucking done. I'm like, no,
God,
I
I
don't care. Look, I love the actor, the guy who played Pike, because I loved Hell on Wheels.
that
But
was
I'm like,
probably the
even this
best
poor
part of
guy
it.
can't even save this goddamn show.
No, No, I mean when he's written to just let Michael Burnham disobey whatever order she wants, it's you know that's part of the thing that kills me because the way the actor portrays him is great. I have no issue with the way the actor
Anton
portrays him. I
Mount,
think
that's his name. Anton
Anson
Mount.
Anson
Or
Mount or something
Anson
like
Mount.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's a good actor when it comes to playing Pike, but they need to write that character better. They need to make sure that like if somebody doesn't follow his orders, that he puts the hammer down on them. You don't see him put the hammer down on anyone.
Which we would all believe see in the cage or the menagerie. We
Right.
know that we have an idea on Pike's character development, and we even have an idea on number one, and then they bring in. I mean, come on, you bring in Rebecca Monet, and you screw that up. How sad
Yeah.
is that? When you
Oh my
bring in
God. And the short trek with her and Spock, number one and Spock, where they sing, and Spock is smiling and laughing. No, that's not what Spock was ever about. That's not what Star Trek was ever about. I mean, you know, it wasn't about that type of stuff. I mean, it seems like, and the other thing it seems like is that's another thing they want to probably do is hook up Spock with number one. You know what I mean?
oh God.
You see, do you see it happening? I could see it happening. I could one day. I bet
I don't even want to think about
I,
that.
I could I
I'm
could
still trying. I'm still trying to figure out. Okay, so
I could
uh,
see I could see Ethan Peck Spock going up to number one, holding up one of these fucking statues and being like, "Do you want some? Do you what did he say? Do you like eggplant?" You know what I mean? By
okay,
the
I
way,
love the fact that you have a Horgon. I love the fact that you have a Horgon. Now I am completely jealous.
they do say to own one is to call forth its powers, and to display one is to say that one is seeking Gerahimon. That's at least that's what I hear.
Yes.
Captain Trek, I think you got something to say about this. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh my God. This is, you know, I, right now I'm speechless. I'm just going to listen to y'all talk. Trust me, I'll pipe in a minute. But
I mean, when it came to funny stuff, like I said, we're talking about a 24-minute episode. And I'm 3 episodes in. We're all 3 episodes in. So we're 72 minutes into a show. 24, 48, 72. I do know how to do math. And I'm like, I giggled, or sorry, I smirked, I giggled, and then I laughed. But for a 72-minute, no, it's just not there. Maybe they haven't found their niche. Maybe we'll find out the next episode if they've gotten their niche. But I think they killed me with I think they really bombed it hard with the Orville reference. I think that was one of the biggest insults of any Star. It's like, wait a minute, you just acknowledged the Orville, the show we all know you're trying to play on, and you went completely downhill from there. At that point, I was so shut off from the episode. I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" And I didn't even catch why I was pissed off about it until Jack. I saw you on Twitter bring it up, and I was like, "Oh, that's why I was pissed off."
Now they did do some things that I thought were an improvement. For instance, in this episode, Boimler and Mariner are not together; they're actually separate, and because they're separate, Boimler actually succeeds in doing something good. You know, I mean, he doesn't have Mariner to mess it up for him. So I did like that. I did think it was kind of lame that I mean that they made it sound like it was like the lazy. Yeah, he was a lazy person or something like that. I didn't really like that idea, but I did like the fact that he succeeded in something and he actually got something named after him. Like kind of like how the Picard maneuver happened in a way.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem because he seems like he is okay. As someone who has been enlisted, Jack, I know you know about this.
Hmm.
We strive to do better and we look at mentors, but when it comes to Mariner, she's that fucking enlisted person when you're like, this is everything I could do wrong. She
Hmm.
has no business being in Starfleet at all, and the only reason she's still in is because mommy's a captain, daddy's an admiral.
It doesn't even seem like she wants to be in Starfleet.
Yeah, that is the key thing. She acts like she doesn't give a shit, but she acts like she's so much better, like she knows the Federation and Starfleet better. It's like, if you did, your ass wouldn't have got demoted.
Hmm.
So
I agree.
yeah, it's ridiculous, and you have this poor young ensign who's trying to build a career. And as any of us who know who've gone through, especially me, 20 years of experience, you don't start out at that level. You have to build to it and you
Hmm.
go and you look for leadership and you emulate them. And then when you run into people who, if you've been in the military, you're going to find it's like any other place. You're going to run
Hmm.
those people you don't want to emulate. So you'll find those bosses where you're like, I want to be like this guy. I don't want to be like this person. And literally, Mariner is literally the officer who, quite frankly, I would have lost my shit on as an enlisted person. Be like, you know what she reminds me of? I kid you not. I saw this in real life. I shit you not. She reminds me of the young lieutenant I saw back a few years ago who was chewing gum while giving a briefing to my colonel.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I shit you not. I am dead serious that happened. And I'm literally looking at this and I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're
Yeah.
chewing gum
That
while talking to a colonel, a full
that
bird fucking colonel.
and
That's what
that,
Mariner
there was
reminds me of.
there was another thing that I did like about, and it had a kind of a happy ending, but I think it was Positive Candor who pointed out that even though they sent her to the brig or whatever for the sleeve thing, which I thought was great. Next week she's not going to be in the brig. She's going to be out and about like everyone else. Yeah,
All right,
and
hey,
by then,
positive candor,
yeah.
you wanna weigh in on that since you were
Well,
brought up?
yeah.
Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
in the
And
preview
I agree.
next, yeah, in the previews for next episode, they show her back with her sleeves rolled back up. So yeah, there's no repercussions to her action. She gets away with everything,
Yeah,
uh, without any consequences, basically.
yeah, and I'm
Besides,
pretty sure
obviously,
by the
already being busted down, who knows how many times. But they say there's in the military there's a three strikes and you're out rule. Apparently, she's been through that. If she's been on five different starships, she's already way past the three strikes and you're out. You know, to me. So she has. There's no reason she should be in Starfleet anymore. And the only reason I think that she is because she is an admiral daddy and a captain mommy. That's the only reason to me that she's still in Starfleet.
well, she can totally take on a different job that's not Starfleet and probably thrive in it. I mean, I remember Jake Sisko wasn't in Starfleet. He ended up becoming a writer,
Hmm.
a journalist,
And a
actually. I think.
journalist, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Captain Trek? You think Mariner would be better off not being in the Federation or Starfleet? Because quite honestly, I agree with Jack and Positive Candor here. I mean, she has no business being in the Federation. Not the Federation, sorry.
Right.
She has no business being in Starfleet. She is what we would call, uh, for those of you who don't know, we would call this person would be administratively discharged for failure to conform. And if anybody's going to failure to conform, it's Mariner at this point because she is just well, she's a bitch.
Yeah, she is. She's is a complete bitch. She disregards orders. She uh, endangers the crew. Um, yeah, let's eject her out the airlock. I kind of like that idea, or just leave her on a planet somewhere. Just get her out of Starfleet.
Yeah, that's what I can't figure out is why she's still in Star. First off, okay, we get it. She has a mom is the captain, dad is an admiral, yada yada yada. But why is she even in Starfleet? She doesn't even act like she wants to be there. She acts like she wants to just well, for lack of a better term, fuck everything up.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. It seems like she just wants. Yeah, she's not. She doesn't want to be there. She's not happy being there. So she just fucks off and does what she wants. Um, but by the way, positive candor. If I believe that if they left her on a planet somewhere, the next time they visit that planet, it's going to be another con situation because she. But yeah, I definitely believe that it would be one of those things where she would end up, uh, because she's already a Mary Sue. She already knows all this stuff. She would be wanting vengeance and all that. One thought about Boimler that I had while I was watching him. He seems like he's very competent in what he does, but he's never in control. So he can never really show off the leadership that he wants to. Um, but they did kind of switch that up because they did take Mariner out of the equation, and taking Mariner out of the equation, Boimler in this at least in this instance was able to succeed in and stuff like that, and he got awarded for it. So I thought that was fine. Um, but the rest of it, all the bad jokes, them trying to be funny, where it's the inconsistency of the show. It doesn't really feel optimistic. It doesn't feel like sci-fi. I've said before. Um, the blatant disrespect. Yeah, I think all of that is the reason why while there could have been potential for the show if maybe they took it more seriously. I don't think that's going to change within the 10 episodes. I think it's pretty much going to be the same thing.
I agree. Well, the other thing is he is the only character that seems to be have any competence, and him and the captain were the only ones operating anything. Everybody else was running around like idiots.
Right, because Boimler is he wants conformity. He's used to that type of discipline, and he wants to succeed, and he's willing. He seems like he's willing to go to go through the process to eventually becoming a captain if he wants. You can in the very first episode you can tell he has aspirations because he was doing like a fake captain's log or something like that. Right. So I mean, I'm still neutral about that character. I don't hate him, but I don't yet like him. I want to see him do more good. Mm-hmm. And I think the only way that we can see that is if in the future he stays away from Mariner. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
No, I would actually agree with that, and that's what really it's kind of a pissing me off in a way. Is he seems like he has the potential to be a good officer and have, that ability to go, and then they're stereotyping him where he's like, oh, I like all rules and regulation. Okay. Well, if you've been in the military, you know that, or even a job, it doesn't matter what job you have to follow certain rules, certain regulations, you name it. And if you're going to be, well, like Mariner, who's kind of a bitch and doesn't basically care about anything. I mean, I didn't even catch it at first, the whole sleeves up thing. That kind of I missed that until it was brought up. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense now. Because, well, for someone like me who was in the Marine Corps, uh, sleeves up, sleeves down was done at a specific time and date, and the general on the
Seasonal.
base made that decision.
Hmm.
We didn't choose it.
Yeah,
So
in
whereas he's, yeah, Jack,
I was
where is?
I
No,
was
go
just gonna
ahead, bud.
say when I was in the Navy, I was a master of arms, so we wore a lot of camouflage back then, and it was seasonal where during the summer we would have to roll our sleeves up and we had to do it a certain way,
Yep.
and then in the winter time it would be sleeves down, so it would just be normal. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, you were in the Navy, I was in the Marine Corps. You and I both remember how we had to roll those sleeves, and it wasn't exactly as easy as people would like to believe.
I have an embarrassing story about that. I made my sleeve so tight I couldn't get my arm out of it, and they had to cut the sleeve off of my arm before my arm turned blue. It was so embarrassing. Like now, it was like over 10 years ago. I don't care now, but back then it was very embarrassing.
Oh, I had a similar experience, Jack Beers. Not me, but one of our guys in the Marine Corps. He rolled his sleeves so tight. We actually were like we had to put our leg up on him and pull the damn thing off. It was so tight. It's crazy, but I do know what you're talking about there. But like I said, you and I both know, and I think any of us know, positive candor, Captain Shrek. I'm assuming, we've all had jobs where we run across someone we're like, why is this person even fucking here? That's
Hmm.
what Mariner feels like. It's like she doesn't even want to be there. She is just a bitch. Whereas Rutherford and the rest of them, they all want to be there. They all want to excel in Starfleet, and she's acting like, fuck Starfleet. Yeah, I know all about Starfleet, and like I'm like, the Mary Sue and everything, and I can just do everything, and I'll just not follow regulations. That's not how it works.
Nope.
Because there are times you have to not follow regulations because that's like the way it's supposed to be.
If it's not a lawful order, then you don't have to follow it.
Yeah, but all she does is just ignore orders, and to
She
top it
knows
all
all the
off,
orders. Yeah.
well, to top it all off, we all know her mother is running the fucking ship.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I think
that's
we're 3 episodes in, and I don't think they've ever actually had dialogue together.
Nope. I
No.
think the next one. I think the next one they will because they were showing previews, and the previews for the next one it was showing the one where she was doing this shit to the captain, and the captain was like, "Don't do that Vulcan thing, the sarcastic Vulcan salute with me," something like that. So they'll probably have words next episode, but it's probably going to be the same thing. She's going to be insubordinate. She's not going to care that it's the captain because it's her mother. Um, and she's gonna treat her like she's gonna treat her like
Like shit, she's gonna be
yeah,
disrespectful.
yeah,
She's not
like
gonna
a
treat her
teenager who's
mother right.
rebelling, against their parents, basically.
yeah.
Does anybody feel okay, guys? We're about 10 minutes from an hour. I want to keep it. So, Captain Trek, after Jack Beers, Positive Candor, we'll go there. Does anything feel like Star Trek here? Anything at all, Captain Trek?
Well, I would say the theme song seems more Trek-like than other like I can't think of the name now. Enterprise.
Oh
Although
yeah.
although after listening to it, I do see some similarities between the Orville theme. And I want to thank Positive Candor for pointing that out before. And it's like, there is some aesthetic look of Star Trek. The uniforms look like what they wore on the Enterprise. But as far as behavior, no. No. Not at all.
I will say this. I do actually not mind the uniforms. I think they're a lot better. I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn off my camera because it's doing that flicker shit, and that's pissing me off. And I don't want anybody to have a seizure. I don't mind the uniforms. To a point, they kind of remind me a little too much of Picard, and I just did not like those uniforms. Maybe I'm just old school, and I kind of like I wish they kind of stuck with TOS kind of era, but that's me. But this show, it's like they're trying to basically, for lack of a better term, uh, they're trying to be DC versus MCU. They're trying to push too much. Well, I mean,
That's a good one.
Jack, if you think about it, I mean, they're like, oh shit, there was a funny show called Orville, and we're gonna try and emulate it. Let's get the guy from Rick and Morty. Okay, well that's great, but me personally, I've never watched Rick and Morty. I didn't like the trailer, so I didn't care. I watched this show, and I'll tell you what. You want to talk about what kills me is the difference in the animation quality. I don't like going from uh computer graphics to whatever the hell they're
Flash
doing with the
animation.
yeah. I don't like it. It bothers me, and it makes it very hard to keep up with, especially when I said, God damn it, still doing that. Whereas we got to the second episode and I saw the quality just from the computer graphics, at least in my opinion, it dropped. I mean, it's like they blew their whole load on the first episode for the graphics, and then you get to the second, third episode, it's like they slashed their budget.
Yeah, yeah. The quality, you can tell the quality went down. You know what it feels like? It feels like they're trying to make Star Trek on the cheap now, because not just lower decks, the quality and stuff like that, but the quality of stuff in Picard, the Picard show, where they were just buying stuff off of Amazon, like this glass, and just displaying them in certain areas. Like, this is from Rios's quarters, and then when you realize that they didn't even doctor the stuff up to make it maybe a little more futuristic, a little more original, and they didn't even doctor the stuff. They just bought it off Amazon and put it somewhere. You realize that, hey, maybe they were doing it on the cheap. Maybe they really don't have the money to make the quality Star Trek that we deserve. You know what I mean? They're always talking about how they're losing money. They lost a lot of money off Discovery, so they started short treks in order to get more money. And then eventually Picard came, and they got funding from Amazon because of that. But then Amazon got screwed. So then by the time Lower Decks comes out, nobody wants to buy Lower Decks internationally. And so because of that, they lost a lot of money probably. And the money they probably got from Picard, they probably put some of that into Discovery Season 3, which is probably why they had to resort to going to Amazon and buying props.
Oh, wasn't there like a Keurig they use as a replicator?
Yes, they used a 3D printer as a replicator.
Oh, the 3D printer, not the Keurig. Okay.
Yeah, they used a 3D printer as a replicator. There was also the the ball Chinese looking ball lights that were
Yeah.
in Soong's office, Amazon. There was the in the board cube where they're getting dressed or whatever. There's a bunch of coat racks, little jaggly coat racks. If you type in modern day coat rack, that coat rack pops up. They had like 20 of them across the room. I
I
have one.
remember you. I remember you talking about that
I
prior.
have, yeah, I have one of them. Actually, I went and bought one.
I'm gonna add this here real quick. I said this. I'm in the same boat with LGD Pixels here. When Picard had to spell his name, I'm like, check please. It's like,
Yes,
come on. That's
yes.
like, I'm sorry, but there are certain people you're gonna know their names.
And he
Kirk,
he was
Picard,
he was just
Cisco.
in he was just on like National Federation Television or whatever it was, and that little kid didn't recognize him. I don't know. I don't get that.
I don't either. But the lower decks is supposed to be stardate 57 something. So they're trying to continue it on the storyline, but it's like stardate 57 yada 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 whatever. Okay, so we're like, okay, we get it. It's 17 years later
Mhm.
from uh TNG. But it's just so not funny. It's not even humorous. I mean, even the intro, I mean, I'll give them credit. The intro music is actually quite enjoyable. It's just unfortunate that the scenes just I don't know. Captain Trek,
If they just had
what's your
that
thoughts on the opening? Positive candor, hold on, Captain Trek. Let me hear your thoughts on the opening. Positive candor. I want to hear your thoughts too, and Jack, I want to hear your thoughts on the opening because we have actually never talked about that.
Well, the like I said, the music I like. The animation, it's like, well, first of all, that the warp engine is struck by something when they're flying by, but it's like opposite side of the ship. Uh, they got that thing suckling on the warp engine. It's like, what? It's just silly. And about the only thing I have right in that is when the ship goes to warp at the very end of the intro.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with it running away from the Borg when it's the only Starfleet ship with a bunch of Romulans, it's like, really?
Shoot once and run. Yeah, that's the Federation.
I'm like, I think we all remember Wolf 359 pretty well. And we saw Miranda classes get their asses handed to them, and they still fought.
Well,
So,
yeah.
And they
That
went
was, that
down
was one of those
fighting.
things. Yeah, that was one of those things I felt was it was cowardly.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying is when you look at the captain, okay, so she's the captain. Okay, great. Um, she literally was a total, and I'm gonna say this, and I don't care who it pisses off. She was a fucking cunt in this episode.
She was mad because she didn't get the diplomatic mission that she wanted.
Boo fucking who.
Yeah.
Boo fucking who. You didn't get the mission you wanted. Guess what? Welcome to military life. We don't
Hmm.
all get what we wanted. Trust me,
She should
I
know
have
that she's a
more than my
captain.
Jack, I'm sure you know too. We all did not get the assignments we always wanted.
Nope.
The thing
Otherwise,
is,
my ass would have been in Germany.
yeah.
My ass would have been an intelligence specialist instead of an MA.
I mean, when the crisis was going on, she was the only one operating all the stations on the bridge. Everybody else was a complete inept idiot and might as well have been off the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like everybody was doing these. She's like, oh, I've got to do everything myself. I was like, okay, if you really feel that way, you are a shitty leader.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what a leader does. A leader, especially a military leader, uh, trusts their people to the best of their ability, corrects them when they need to, encourages them when things are going good, and guides. That's how you progress through the ranks. It's why we become managers in the enlisted ranks. But to her, she just put all these people, and everybody's running around like a chicken with their head cut. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
They think chaos is funny.
Hey, just another nerd. Great to have you here, buddy. We're about to actually wrap up. We are at an hour, guys. Um, hey guys, final thoughts for the night on LDS episode 3, Captain Shrek. What are your final thoughts, buddy?
But quite honestly, I would say it was an improvement on the previous two episodes, but barely. And if I were to give it a rating, after seeing it, because I've seen every episode 4 times, I would give it a 2.
All right, positive candor. Your final thoughts on the episode.
Um, yeah, it wasn't that great of an episode. Um, Despite them changing everything up to make it, I guess, Mariner more relatable by having her not be the person who gets them out of the mess this time. But of course, we all know that's going to change up in the next episode anyway, back to normal type thing. So it's to me, it doesn't matter really almost what they do in this mess.
Nah, I would agree with that. Jack, what's your final thoughts on LDS so far?
The third episode was slightly better than the first two, but I don't see it improving any more than that. We kind of know what their tone is now. It's what we expected. It's the Rick and Morty type of humor. They screw everything up because they think that's funny, and then they somehow undo it. And then they add member berries. I mean, you can already see the formula. You can already see the formula that they have. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to episode 4 because it's called Moist Vessel, and I have no idea what that means, and I don't really want to find out.
Sounds like something you would wipe your ass with. Well, a moist towelette, feels good.
But yeah,
Oh gosh.
Hey, you should try. Oh, thank you, Jack. I got a triple throw. I love it. No, no. What I mean is, when you think about a moist towelette, actually being in the field, we used to use those to kind of wash our bodies as best we could because we didn't have showers, so we were told to take sorry, I made the wrong term. Baby wipes. We used to take baby wipes out to the field to wash our bodies and clean ourselves when we unfortunately weren't able to get a shower, which if you're in the field is quite often.
that
So
makes sense.
also, if you've never had to wipe your butt with sandpaper kind of toilet paper, you're lucky people because it's not fun. Oh my goodness. When it comes to this, yeah, I'm not looking forward to the fourth episode, but I'm going to watch it just because I am having way too much fun talking about it with you guys. So I'm going to watch. I said, I made a deal with Jack. Said we're going to do 3 episodes. We done 3 episodes. I'm going to do another one just because I love hanging out with you guys. And I hope y'all come back next week.
Sounds
Oh, I'd
good.
love to.
All right. With that being said, folks, hopefully I can turn my camera on. Yeah, I'm getting that crap. Peace and long life. Live long and prosper. I hope you all had a great one. And I will be back Monday for 10-4 to talk the MCU. And then we will come back. I think, guys, I don't know, call me crazy. I think this Saturday afternoon is actually the better place for the course bar. What do you guys think?
We'll have to do it at a time when the sun is not directly at me, so I don't burn up. But yes.
We'll work it out for you, Jack. Definitely. All right, everybody, have a good one. Thank you all for being in the chat. LGG Pixels, Just Another Nerd, everybody else. Peace and long life.